And this will tell us that we're live. Let me just double check my YouTube, make sure everything's running properly.
It says it's live over here.
Yeah. And the good thing is, like, for example, if somebody, like, if you, like, I'll show you, right? Like,
That's funny. I just got a notification that Big Burrito is online right now for YouTube.
so if you like, the good thing about that is I can, if anybody posts a comment like on YouTube while they're watching,
you see it?
Yeah, I can just push it over and like let it go like that, you know. So if I post this so people can watch it if they want, they'll be able to ask questions and shit if you want. So this will be a cool test to see kind of how that goes.
We'll see how wide your audience is too.
No, we didn't
I'm
promote
just
it. This is the first time I'm doing this just because it's you, and you know what I mean? All right.
So you're going to throw me to the
Wolves. You to the Wolves, brother.
Okay.
Well, I think you're more of a public person, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I think you, you know, all right, let me do my intro into this other camera, and then we'll get going, okay? All right. What is up, everybody? It is your boy, Lou Martinez, a.k.a. Big Chief Burrito, with another Fireside Chats with Big Chief Burrito interview. Today, we are talking to my friend, co-worker at times. We work on several projects together, actor, spokesperson. He's knowledgeable about nutritional supplements that you might need. His name is George Jack. I call him the Chameleon. How you doing today, George?
I'm doing good, man. Considering the circumstances, yeah.
Yeah, you know, the old California saying, considering all the shit that's going down, right? But I appreciate you coming on. The reason primarily that we decided to kind of do a quick follow-up was because you had been one of the people from my other show that kind of was like really open to letting me do a reel review in terms of like letting me look at your reels in real time and give you honest feedback on what I thought. And you were, as soon as I put it out there to people, you were one of the first people that were just like, yeah, you know, come on, bring it on. I'm down to clown. So I appreciate you kind of being down with that. But can you tell us a little bit about sort of how you took that once you saw it and kind of, you know, what was it that made you sort of make the decisions that you did to change what you were putting out there?
Well, I mean, I think anytime you get a chance to get true or honest criticism about your work, especially in art or acting, you should take it to heart and think about it and process it and then see if that's something that you'll actually use. And in this case, I actually did use it. So thank you.
Well, the main thing that I had done was just kind of, you know, something that I think seem to do is I always look at it from a perspective as somebody that is a director, and at this sort of mid-tier, independent, ultra low budget level, the director is still very much involved with casting. Now, once you get a couple of levels higher, the director might not get involved unless he has particular actors that he wants in the mix, or later on when they put some people in front of him. But at this level where we kind of seem to be working in, you know, I'm going to be the person that clicks on the email that you sent, and you have a very sort of short amount of time for me to. You're going to be instantaneously judged, right? Is that the understanding as an actor? Like, where do you pick that up in your acting career? Where do you start sort of being cognizant of how you present yourself?
Well, I think I have a different perspective on that. I'm not just an actor. So as you know, I'm a producer, writer, director, all of that. So I've been on the other side of the table, so trying to cast people. And I can see the frustrations that casting directors and producers go through when specifically just giving directions in an email is very hard for not just people, but specifically actors to follow. And I think it gives me a little bit more perspective in terms of what I believe a producer or a casting director or director is actually looking for when they're looking to cast a role. So it's not just, obviously, look and talent is important, but also how you act on set, how you interact with everybody on set, if you're easy to work with, all of that needs to be taken into account.
So you're presenting yourself not only as an actor, but as a producer, as a host, as somebody that can be a sponsor for a product, stuff like that. Not only as an actor.
Well, that's how I present myself on my website, because I feel like I'm confident in my skills to do all of those things, for sure. But what I'm saying is I understand what it feels like to be on the other side of the table when you're trying to cast a role, and when people aren't being as cooperative as you need them to be, because you need to get things done very quickly. It's hard when people are not listening to directions, and I feel like that's one of the biggest downfalls to actors, is not reading and not listening to directions.
Yeah, I think it's funny because it happens to everybody that's casting something. They'll post up a casting notice. The second line is, "Please read all of this," and then it's like, "Hey, these are the parts. This is the submission process." And then one or two comments down, it's be like, "I'm interested." Okay, that's cool. That's cool that you just decided to blurt that out there. However, I don't have the time to go like find you, figure out if we're friends, then send you a message and then say, "Hey, you're interested in my movie? Great. Now I have to spend my time reaching out to you to find out, what your availability is." And most of the time, those people, because I've wasted my time a couple of 2-3 times, end up being like, "Oh, July, I'm on vacation all of July. Never mind," because they didn't read where it said that the film was, shooting July 18th through the 24th or something like that, right? And
right, which is what tells me that people don't take it seriously.
yeah. And I've sent out casting notices where people sent me an email that said, "Me movie, what time do I show up?" And like literally just like, "Hey, what time do I show up? I like the part of Joey, the lead. What time do I show up?" Oh.
I mean, even boils down to me for when I'm casting something myself as a producer, and I put literally like ethnically ambiguous, and I get the most pale white people in the world submitting. I'm like, come on, you really think that you're ethnically ambiguous?
I could be Scandinavian or I could be French. You never know. It's up to you.
It's like me saying that I'm Caucasian. They're looking for a white person, and I submit stuff. Which, don't get me wrong, I used to do that because
right.
I am part white, so I thought that maybe I could submit myself because I'm white, so I'm not lying about that. But there's a lot of, you got to understand the business, and they're looking for a specific look, and if they're looking for somebody it's a mixed ethnicity, then you want to make sure that your look fits that bill.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the director and the producer, it's their vision. So if they have a specific look in mind for the part, it's their movie. Mm-hmm. I think where there's a lot of options for actors is, even if you're not specifically that part, there's no reason you can't put yourself out there. And if your talent is such that it can't be denied, then there's a chance that these directors, producers will, think about it. It's like, listen, I thought this was going to be a 32-year-old white dude, but this Filipino, this light-skinned Filipino guy that came in is actually a really good actor, and I might kind of reimagine this. I think, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I believed in when I was, I guess, I'm not calling you naive, but I'm saying when I was more naive of an actor, is I believe that, and that's why I would submit myself for something that was a Caucasian look when I'm really not. But casting directors, from my experience, and producers, if they're looking for a specific look, they're just going to pass you by if you're really not it, and they're not going to give you the time of the day because they got very few minutes in the world to look at roles for whatever they're casting, and if you don't fit the look, they're not going to take the time to play the video or go to your website or watch your reel or any of that, no matter how good you are.
So you're looking at it more from a cold-blooded, black and white, like
that's
this
how they
or
are.
that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah. I guess that's kind of why I was trying to put it into that context of the independent filmmaking level as opposed to right now. If you're talking about something that's got like a 10, 15, $20 million budget, then, or it's a commercial that's got like a, $500,000 budget, and they specifically are saying this is a commercial that's going out to Latin American households, etc. We need a specific look. Then you start getting into more very cutthroat black and white sort of situations. What I'm more referring to is more like general casting for, ultra low budgets and below, kind of when we're starting out. I think at that level, there's more of a chance, because it's happened to me, and this is maybe something that's a downfall of my directing sort of style, but I've seen people that were not the right part for the film, and I've changed stuff around to make it fit for them. And I've also seen people that came in audition and just killed it, even though they didn't specifically look like the part I want, and I ended up just writing a part for them in the movie, so.
Yeah, I mean, that's cool for sure, but you didn't write them into the role that they were supposedly auditioning
Right.
for.
Yeah. I guess I'm just too much of a nice guy, George. That's where that's where that falls in. When did you get the bug, or when did you realize that you were somebody that wanted to put themselves out there, either in artistic fashion, acting, etc.?
College for sure. Towards the end of my college career, so I went to San Diego State. I had no idea what I wanted to do coming out of college, just like I would assume most college students.
Right.
And somehow I got into, I was actually, so it's very convoluted story, but I was, at the time, Entourage was my favorite show and I loved it. And somehow I was in psychology, which has to do with acting. At least that's how I see it. And then I got an extra role on a show from HBO, which is what Entourage was on, was HBO. It was called John from Cincinnati, which shot in Imperial Beach, San Diego, Lower San Diego, closer to TJ. And I got this was the first time I was ever on set, period. And I got a featured extra role. And I don't know if everybody knows what a featured extra role is, but pretty much your background, kind of, but you get to be on camera for a big moment, and it's pretty much your own face, so that's why they call it featured. And back in the day, they used to have what was called Taft-Hartleys.
Right.
So a Taft-Hartley was if you worked on a SAG project, which obviously HBO was, and you got a speaking role, which I did. I got a featured speaking role. Then you became Taft-Hartley and you became eligible for SAG. So I was eligible for SAG within the first project that I did. But it was just the entire production itself that illuminated my eyes into the film industry and specifically acting. And then also an experience I had on that same set. I was the news van driver for the local news station in Imperial Beach for that John from Cincinnati show. And I ended up crashing the van at the end of my second day on accident. And I was like, oh, fuck, I'm supposed to be here for another 3 days. I'm going to be fired. And out of all of the people to talk me down from that ledge, because I was like, dude, I might as well just die right now. It was the dad from Married with Children. What's his name again? I always forget his name.
Al Bundy, but what's
Al Bundy, but
Ed Helms? Not Ed Helms. It's,
no.
See, if this wasn't live, this is where I would Google it and then just edit it out so we look like we are smart and we got the name right away.
No, it's
right.
Ed O'Neill. There we go.
Ed O'Neill.
Over
right.
there. Yeah, it was Ed O'Neill. By the way, still to this day, the nicest celebrity I've ever met on set. Him and
Really?
Tom Cruise.
Wow. When'd you meet Tom?
Top Gun 2 down here.
Okay. Nice.
A lot of people were on that.
Yeah. I was talking to David Fernandez yesterday. We did his interview, and he was saying that when he was on Sons of Anarchy, what's this guy's name from Hellboy and from Sons of Anarchy, he was doing a scene where he had to really do a lot of emotion, and he was really going all out when the camera was turned away from him, for the actors' reactions, you know. and he said that the I forget his name now too. But this actor, came up to him and he basically was like, "Listen, man, you're putting it all out there, but save some of that energy for when the camera's on you. Don't stress out so much about it. So it's weird talking to all you guys, all these actors, and seeing kind of like that these other people that, and he even said like Jake Gyllenhaal when he was on End of Watch was also really cool with them and stuff like that. So it's awesome that you guys have good experiences, and then these people don't necessarily turn out to be complete assholes, right?
Yeah, because from the most part, I feel like all the stories are all these big stars are assholes, but that's not in my experience. It's not like that. I don't know.
John from Cincinnati, though, it wasn't that was sort of like after The Sopranos was ending. That was supposed to be like HBO's like next big show or something. Like they hyped that up. They hyped that up for a while.
Yeah, it was a weird one. There was like some Jesus undertones. Like this guy John
Yeah,
from Cincinnati was supposed to be Jesus on a
like
surfboard or something.
Jesus surfs, right? Something like that. And but I think I was like they hyped it up so much that I think I saw the first episode, but after that it kind of petered out. But that was your very first part was on that show.
That was literally the first time I had ever even thought of being on a set, and it was for HBO. And then I loved Entourage, so just compounding the fact that that was an Entourage or HBO show, and I was on HBO set, I was like, this is crazy.
And that's and also I mean HBO recycles a lot of actors like Bodie from The Wire was on The Sopranos for a bit part, and then also Michael K. Williams also from The Wire, and then also from he's done like 3 different HBO shows. He had a small part in The Sopranos, so you never know, those background extra or featured extra parts can turn into a reoccurring role or a featured role like overnight.
Yeah, so there's a new podcast out right now. It's called Victory the Podcast. I don't know if you ever watched Entourage. Did you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Johnny Drama he had that catchphrase, Victory.
Victory.
Yeah, exactly. So they've got a podcast on. Where was I going with this? What would you just say again? You said something to remind me of something on this podcast.
Was it just that was your first that was your first job, and that like Michael K. Williams and the other actors get on other HBO shows after doing smaller parts?
That's it. I forgot. I'll remember. I'll pick it up. Just go on to the next question.
No, that's fine. But then after that, kind of where did that take you? You just kind of looking into what was happening locally and just trying to get involved with more projects, or did you automatically just be like, all right, I did an HBO show, time to move to LA? What was your thought process at that point when you were starting out?
I mean, just start from the beginning. So try to figure out what it would take to become an actor, which is the thing that I wanted to do, was become an actor. So obviously you got to get your headshots. You definitely got to take classes because it's not as natural as some people might seem. It's not a natural occurring skill that you can have. Like you get to practice it. And then eventually you start doing independent films, student films, free shit, just so you could get your reel. A reel is just examples of your work as an actor, and you just splice them all together. And you try to get that reel better and better. And then eventually you go for agents and managers in LA, and that's where all the work is. So
the reel that you're using now, or the one that you just changed recently, would you say that's like version like 6.0, 7.0? How far along are you in terms of updating that?
Of that specific one, because
just in terms of just in terms of how many variations of them have you gone through?
I don't know. I would say, so I started acting when I got out of college, which was the end of 2012. So I graduated in December 2012. So I started technically in 2013. So since then, I probably had like 6 or 7 reels. And you always want to put the best shit out there. So I've got plenty of footage, but it doesn't mean it's good enough to put on your reel.
No, I think a lot of actors make the mistake where they have 3 clips from 3 shows, and one of them is a student film where the audio is synced out, and The other one is something when they're in it like 7 different times, but every time they're in it for like 3 seconds in the background. And then
Mm.
they have one thing where they, when they're starting out, and then they're like, "Here, make me a reel with this." And there's actually predatory people out there that'll sit there and be like, "Yeah, I'll charge you $400 to put this reel together," or something like that. But if it's just like that, you're better off just kind of just trying to get more stuff together, right? You need at least three to four different things that are, at or above the student film level to really, like
Yeah,
how long. Go ahead.
and that was one of the things that I took from the feedback that you gave me for my reel. And I should think about this just because I'm a producer and director as well. But the fact that that clip where I was in the middle of like maybe 20 people at a party, that's important, not because of just the acting skill, but because of the fact that you can handle the pressures that come with acting on a set that requires that many actors, extras, and all of that. So that's why I put that to the forefront, because you're right. It's true. Because that what people want to know from one of my good acting teachers, Kerry Scott in San Diego, he says that the most important things as an actor is your look, number one. So it doesn't matter. We were talking about this earlier, but if you don't look like the part that everybody's trying to cast you for, doesn't matter how fucking good of an actor you are, you're not going to get the part. Two is not your talent, but it is your ability to work on set and everybody's comfort with working with you on set. So are you not an asshole or diva on set and shit like that? And then
Yeah.
number three is finally your talent.
I was remembering because actually you were on set for this for Fallback, and we had an actress there that
I remember.
we showed up to the hotel, and we're setting up, and we just got there, right? And she's like, I had already had to like send her a lift or something because she couldn't get to set. And she gets there and she goes to the dining room in the hotel and orders a salad. And then I had Crafty was coming. We were setting up food for everybody, right? But she shows up, and then she kept bothering me for like the next hour. She's like, "So do I just Venmo you for the salad?" And I was like, "Why would you? What are you gonna Venmo? What's?" He's like, "Because I had a salad, and you need to pay for my food." And I was like, "I told you already. The food is gonna be here in a minute. I'm not paying $18 for some hotel salad for you." She's like, "So do you do like Cash App or Venmo or PayPal?" And I was like, "I'm not paying for your fucking salad." So don't be that person. Right?
I mean, it's not even just that. Like,
Yeah.
there's so many different things that factor into being a good actor on set. You got to understand what's going on, what everybody's job is, so you don't get in the way, because
Right.
everybody's moving. It's a lot of moving parts. So you can, I mean, now it's really different, especially considering COVID. So there's probably not as many moving parts, but still, you want to understand everybody's role, what everybody does on set, how not to get in the way, and how to help things move faster. Because if you can do that, people are going to remember that and they're going to appreciate it, and they're
And
going
if
to be
you're
like,
yeah, this guy's not a pain in the ass on set.
yeah, yeah. In
And also
fact,
if
he
you
helps that. Yeah.
if you're gonna crash a van, make sure that it's after a full day of footage so that they can't fire you, right? Because once they get once they get like a day and a half of footage, then it's like, ah, man, we're not gonna. This guy crashed the van, but we already shot like 3 of his scenes, so I guess we can't fire him, right?
I mean, it could have been because of my looks, but who's counting?
Who's counting? You said something that I wanted to talk about, which is the new normal. I've spoken to a couple of people that have run sets. Shelly, who I think is watching, she did a video, a music video shoot where the rules are that you have to limit the amount of people per room. Something like you have to. It's all good. This is what happens when you're live. No, that's all good. Trust me, my dogs will be barking at some point as well. But you've been on a couple of sets, mostly I would say commercial things that you've been doing recently.
Yeah, commercial and
Yeah,
industrial.
what she brought to my attention was that as the talent, you can't really like be putting on a mask and off, especially if you have makeup and things like that. So it kind of is on the crew. They're the ones that have to sort of be extra careful because the actors, the talents can't really be all that careful because people are coming up to you doing last looks, makeup, props, stuff like that. Is that kind of what you felt, that the crew is sort of, everybody's sort of as a team responsible for making sure that the talent is not kind of put in a bad position?
I don't know. It's different, man. Everybody doesn't have the same protocols for COVID. Everybody's just pretty much just trying to work on the fly. And everybody's trying to keep people safe for sure, but there's not really a standard of how to do things. Something that I feel like is a good model is what the NBA has been doing with their bubble. They haven't had one COVID positive test since they started the bubble. So what the bubble is they put everybody who's involved with basketball. So that's the players, coaches, anybody who's a trainer, anything that has to do with the team. Everybody's inside now in Florida at Disney World. So they're keeping everybody there, not letting anybody in, not letting anybody out. So there's no possibility for a positive test to infect everybody like we're seeing with baseball. In terms of the film industry, somebody who's doing that is Tyler Perry Studios. So in Georgia, Tyler Perry has one of the largest soundstage studios in the United States and world, but
Yeah.
what he's doing is for every production, you have to be in a bubble. So cast and crew is all staying on site. So they've got hotels or Airbnbs, something that they can allow them to stay there, and they can't leave the bubble until the production is over.
It's kind of like the Adam Sandler kind of style of let's all get together, go to Hawaii and make a movie. Let's all stay at you know what I mean? Like it's almost kind of that, but like a way. So from your kind of real life experience, there's not a set standard for COVID measures right now. It depends on the level of production, whether it's indie, whether it's commercial, stuff like that, right?
Yeah, I've been on sets since COVID that nobody's wearing masks. I've been on sets where everybody's wearing masks, even the actors, until it's time for you to get on camera. I mean, there's a wide range of different protocols.
That may or may not be followed. So as the actor, you just have to sort of make the decision whether or not.
And I've been on sets where they provide a waiver that you need to sign that pretty much limits their liability. So if you get sick, it's not their fault and you can't sue them.
Okay. All right. I mean, yeah. So sign your life away type deal.
And with everything that's going on with the lack of jobs, they're jumping on it because they need work. They need to pay their bills and shit. So
especially if you want to make your living off of acting.
It's hard right now.
New York, Vancouver, Georgia, you mentioned. Other than LA, those are three other cities where there is sort of like, maybe Austin at this point, where there's more of a thriving film production industry. Have you at any point seriously considered sort of making that leap into kind of one of those zones to try to, see what kind of opportunities are out there? Or have you sort of always focused on the Southern California, LA scene?
I've thought about it for sure, but haven't had the opportunity to actually jump into it as of yet. Not even LA. Like I haven't even got the opportunity to jump into LA. 2019 was probably my most lucrative year in terms of dollars as an actor. So I made the most money as an actor in 2019. But then COVID hit. You had to pivot. Even before that, I was getting a little bit more into writing, directing, producing. And COVID kind of has completely pushed me in that direction.
Sort of, yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of what's happening to me is that I can't really, even if I had an idea for a short or a feature right now. I mean, we do have features ready, but I would need a lot of money plus more money to really be able to come up with our own protocols of what we felt comfortable with us in filming right now. And asking somebody to work for a low wage or for no money at this point where they're, could literally putting their life in their hands is kind of a tough sell. So if it's a commercial, if it's for a client, and if there's a budget, then I can understand, saying, how can we do this with the most minimal crew, cast, etc. But in as much as, producing, it gives you more time to sort of focus on the projects that you want to tell, the stories that you want to tell. Do you fall more on the producer, like taking others' ideas and sort of pushing them forward, or are you trying to voice your own stories, or both?
Both. I mean, if it's a story that I believe in from somebody else, then I'll try to help them out with that as far as I can get them to go, because people will want their idea pushed, but you can only push them so far. But in terms of my own ideas, I think that's where I'm headed.
And what do you want the ideas to just be out there? Okay, for example, let's say you have an idea that you initially think of yourself as the lead in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you start going down the road of producing this, and a producer comes in and says, listen, I like your idea. I want to keep you on as a producer. I got some money for it, but it's a no-go if you kind of, it's that Rocky situation, right? Sylvester Stallone. We like your idea, but we don't want you to be the lead.
I mean, to be honest with you, bro, I completely understand that, because it's all about selling a product, and without having a name brand or name actor in one of the leading roles, it's going to be hard to sell that product. So as a producer, I completely understand that. I'm not going to push myself as an actor to try to get myself as a leading role if I'm the one who wrote and produced it. Like that would be stupid to me, because then that project's never going to get off the ground.
Right. The Rocky is like the one out of 50,000, basically, right? That's
That's an outlier.
It's an outlier, right?
As they say in statistics, yeah.
Deep analytics. You're running some deep analytics on the movie industry over there. You got some metrics, some Excel sheets over there. What's going on? You're looking at it from a very mathematical perspective, George.
I mean, yeah, I'd look at it from a practical standpoint, because I understand that it's a business, and if you got nothing to sell, if there's nothing or there's no problem that you can solve in terms of your skills, then what good are you to that industry?
That's cool. Now, from an acting perspective, what would you consider a dream role for you?
Definitely something like Tom Cruise is doing with Mission Impossible, and the action films where you're doing your own stunts, all that shit. James Bond, I don't know if he does his own stunts, but I know he does significant amount of hardcore training to get into shape for that shit, and that's the type of shit that I relish.
Some John Wick type shit, some Keanu stuff.
Ooh, that would be dope.
All right. Let me give you a this or that question. All right. As an actor, you've done some stuff. You have a few credits, but you're also kind of putting in work on the commercial, field, right? You're kind of attacking it from both angles.
Mm.
You have these two options presented in front of you. Okay. Number one is a Verizon national commercial, kind of like that girl that does the AT&T ones where she's kind of or like the Sprint guy,
Mm-hmm.
Can you hear me now type deal.
Mm-hmm.
One of those is going to bring in the residuals. It's going to kind of give you a little bit of financial flexibility, right? Get you out there, but it doesn't necessarily guarantee that you'll be able to take the jump from commercial actor to serious actor.
Usually it doesn't either.
Yeah, usually it doesn't. Or, and I use this same example with David, so I'm going to use it the same, but FX is rebooting the A Team, right? And they want you to
You don't even say
play
anything else.
Face.
I'm already in.
You're already in? That's
Yeah.
it, huh?
I could be anybody on the A team. I'm down. Mr. T, I would prefer, but
I ain't going on no plane, Hannibal. So cable show right away, even though there's no guarantee of a season 2, you're in right away, right?
oh yeah.
Okay.
100%.
Is that just because you think it's going to bring out more possibilities? Is that more important to you than like the security financially?
I mean, it depends on what you're in this for. So I'm in this because I just love the art of filmmaking. So I'm not going to do something that compromises that love for the art. And if I'm choosing between the two, if I had both, I mean, I would be happy with that.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
obviously, one's going to give me a nice paycheck, and the other is
Mhm.
going to allow me to exercise my creativity.
Okay.
But I'll definitely choose the happiness of being able to create over the money, if that's what your question is.
Okay, got it. Okay, one season of FX's the A Team, or right, 5 seasons of being the ethnically ambiguous Chandler on a Friends reboot.
Like literally the
Yeah,
Chandler equivalent.
yeah, U.S. Chandler in an ethnically ambiguous Friends reboot. Versus, okay, 5 seasons of that or 2 seasons of the A Team on FX.
Oh, I would take the 5 seasons.
The 5 seasons right away.
Yeah.
Even though creatively it might not be as good, as cool as the action stuff.
Well,
You know.
I don't know if you know this, but I don't know if you believe this about me, but a lot
Okay.
of people think that I'm a better comedic actor than I am a dramatic actor, even though I don't believe that.
Is that what they say? Is that what the book says about George Jack?
That's a consensus, is that I've got comedic chops, but I'm not the best dramatic actor.
He can't hit the curveball, but he can be funny. What's going on here?
Yeah. It's like the Mark Wahlberg type of funny, though. It's not like Kevin Hart funny. It's like Mark Wahlberg. It's because it's the context of the situation that you're funny.
It's not unintentional, though, right? Because a lot of Mark Wahlberg's comedy is just,
It's context. Contextual. Yeah.
Okay, I could see that. I don't know, man. I think, Fallback, you were dramatic. I mean, the stuff that I've seen for you, you get.
Fletcher and Jenks is a good example of that.
Okay, I saw that. That was more like dry, humorous sort of, right? Yeah. Okay. You can play this I guess the straight guy in a comedic duo, so to speak. I guess well, but yeah, I mean, that's funny. That's an interesting take on you. I would think that obviously that would be sort of casting you against type, because if somebody saw you, they'd be like, oh, this guy can play a lawyer, a detective, a cop, stuff like that.
Which is what makes it funny. It's because, I don't know, you look a certain way, and then when you actually speak and you're against that type that you've got this preconceived notion of as a person who's judging another person by their face, then you start laughing. And I guess I make people laugh. Fuck it.
Fuck it.
Oh,
Shit.
sorry. What was I supposed to say?
No, I don't care. I don't. Shit,
that was the one curse word that I said in this entire thing.
I don't think YouTube gives a fuck about that. I don't know. They might, but I don't really care either way. I mean, what are they going to say? I wanted to ask you about, because I know you're part of Rising Tides. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, tell me a little bit about this kind of new thing that you're doing.
Okay, so Rising Tides is it's a media company that's pretty much a derivative of Blue Entertainment, which was created by Aaron David Roberts. Blue Vision, Jesus Christ. Blue Vision Entertainment.
Not Blue Velvet, Blue Vision.
All right, anyways. So one of our purposes is to help bring up and educate some of the younger generations to get them accustomed to what filmmaking is in general. So education was one of the biggest things that we wanted to input into the production company and media company. But because of COVID, it really fucked up our plan. But with that being said, I think it was a blessing in disguise, because it allowed us to pivot and create more of a PR agency in the beginning to start accruing clients and help people who are suffering through COVID in terms of like small business owners and connect with their communities digitally to help them build their businesses, even though this is a time where a lot of small businesses are failing. And then eventually we want to grow into that education sector, but we also want to produce pilots, feature films, TV series, all that.
And the how many people are involved in sort of the management of that?
There's 7 of us currently.
Okay. Because I remember we talked about, I think, something else that you might have been involved, which was, I think, Iron Tree, which was a few years back. That sort of that where you guys were. That's not. It doesn't sound like it's the exact same thing, but how would you kind of denote the difference between that?
Yeah, Iron Tree was a little bit different. So Iron Tree was a collective of mostly directors who wanted to come together to try to showcase all of their work and try to build their brand through the collectiveness of everybody. But this Rising Tides creative has, I would say, a little bit more of a long-term goal
Okay.
instead of a short-term goal. And like I said, we want to establish a good film industry in San Diego, and that always comes from the younger people. So we want to make sure that the people who are coming up and interested in filmmaking are adept at doing everything that has to do with filmmaking. So I don't care if you want to be an actor, we're going to teach you how to be a producer, director, writer, behind the camera in terms of being a DP, all of that stuff. And then eventually you'll find your way and create your own niche.
I mean, honestly, I think that's awesome. I had a desire to sort of do something like that a few years back because I think from a personal perspective, as a minority growing up in New York or growing up in different places, if you say, that's not, I don't think it's as true now as it was before when I was growing up, but I remember sort of being not ashamed, but
Scully.
is your dog named Scully?
Yeah. We were in X-Files binge when we named it. So.
But what I was saying is, I don't know if it was ashamed is the right word, but I wasn't necessarily really open to telling people, like my homies, like in New York, hey, you know what? I want to make movies, dude. And, I got this idea about this epic, movie about this and that. Cause, a lot of it was like, man, sit your ass down. You ain't going to be no fucking movie director, like stuff like that, or I want to act. I want to do that. So I think that people that have that desire to do that in while they're young, sometimes they get pushed down because they're sort of apprehensive about sharing that with the world. So anything that lets people know kind of the reality of what pursuing that dream is, I think is a good concept. So kudos for putting that out there.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at all of the schools and specifically America, what's the most underfunded department in education? It's the arts.
Right.
And that's because nobody really gives a fuck about it. Yet, because of the pandemic, what's everybody fucking doing? Watching Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu, whatever the fuck you want to call it. You're watching content, right? This is what's keeping us busy. Yet we don't get the respect that we should. I mean, look
the hazard pay.
Yeah. Pandemic, unemployment, whatever the fuck it's called. And just so you know, I've got a regular job where I got a W-2, so I couldn't get fucking hazard pay or pandemic unemployment. I lost 30% of my income because of acting, but I couldn't get any unemployment because I have still a W-2.
Yeah.
Thank God I still do, but it's still fucked up.
I think I still have my work from home day job, even though I'm not doing anything, in the industry right now. But I think that that you're right. It's just like you have to stay creative and you have to kind of. Do you see that as sort of like just something that's very natural to you as a producer actor, or giving back, or you think that's is that kind of one of the motivations for
Yeah,
you?
yeah, for sure. It's definitely giving back because it's something that I wish I would have understood or learned a lot sooner than I did. Because I think I would be a lot further along in my career had I known all the information that I know now. And I'm not saying that I wish I had it any other way, because, I mean, the path that I took, I'm happy with and I'm content with, but it would be cool if you were younger and you understood all the things that you understand when you're older. And I could say the same thing about sports too. I'm actually, not to plug this, but I'm a coach for Little Rookies Baseball,
Uh-oh.
and I'm teaching kids from 2 years old to 8 years old how to. It's not baseball. So from this age, it's all learning about movements, body movements, and how to translate that into athletic movements. And then eventually, as you get older, you translate all those movements into baseball skills, baseball
Mm.
specific skills. And that's something that I feel like I wish I learned when it comes to acting, producing, everything that's entertainment or film industry based.
How are you enjoying the DH in both leagues during baseball?
How about the Padres though?
Oh yeah. Well, that's my next question for you, because you seem to be a bit of a sports polygamist. But this year, I like the fact that there's a DH in the National League, and I think that baseball purists are really the only ones. Then baseball purists are probably all like in their 60s plus, where they still think the DH is a good idea, right? But I mean, that's got to go at some that not having a DH is a good idea.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, in every sport, you have to learn how to play defense and offense.
Right.
So it's
And
just
what do you think? What do you make? Just quick sports segue here, but what do you make of the controversy that Fernando Tatis had for swinging 3-0 up by 6 runs? The whole unwritten rules of baseball thing. Do you believe there's such a thing, like bat flips? Not staring at your home run too long.
no.
Are you were aware of what happened though, like the controversy?
Yeah, bro. Like, what's wrong with that? Seriously.
Well, shit. Hey, I'm a Mets fan. They lost the game in the ninth inning. They were up by 7 runs. A team came back and scored 7 runs. So I don't think any lead. There's no time but there's no clock in baseball.
The
You know.
only thing that I have wrong is the fucking Astros.
The Astros is the team that benefited the most from COVID because they're playing in empty stadiums right now, and they're getting hit a lot. But if the Astros were going to be just destroyed by fans this entire season, and somehow they got out of it because there's no people in the stands. I hope that people keep that energy and that hate towards them and wait till next season. Right? Are you?
Pitchers need to keep keeping that heat towards them, like
Yeah.
Kelly from the Dodgers.
Yeah. Now, when I called you a sports polygamist, is because you seem to be rooting for the Padres, right?
No, I just said that just because it's a crazy stat. 4 games in a row with. I'm actually a Yankee fan, so.
Okay, that's even worse.
Yeah.
But you're also a Laker fan.
I'm a fair weather Yankees fan.
You're a fair weather Yankees fan.
So in 2018, I went to the Yankees Red Sox game, the playoffs game where the Red Sox won like 16-1 or some bullshit.
Right.
But my girlfriend bought me a jersey with my name on it. So from then on, I'm a Yankees fan.
There you go.
At least I admit it.
And you're a Ravens fan.
Ravens fan. Dad was born in Cleveland, so I used to be a Browns fan. Browns moved to Baltimore in 94, 95 in the middle of the night. And
so you're actually an original Cleveland Browns fan that turned into the Ravens.
Yeah.
And then the Lakers?
Well, Lakers, I mean, there's no San Diego basketball team. Don't say the Clippers. Don't say that.
No, but by the same saying that you're saying, well, he was a Cleveland Brown fans, but they moved to Baltimore. That's San Diego. The only thing that San Diego had was the Clippers. But I guess they weren't here for that long. People didn't even like them when they were here, obviously. No. All right. I want to ask you just kind of what's next for you, kind of like a little bit, but I want to make sure that we get a chance to take a quick break here in case you want to get some water or something. We'll keep talking and then we'll just do another segment and then wrap it up. All right.
Cool.
So I'm just gonna, leave the "we'll be back in 2 minutes" banner up, and we'll pick it back. All right, give me a second here, Judge. Yeah, there. All right. And we are back through the magic of editing. Actually, we're live, so that doesn't make sense. What you drinking on over there, George?
Vino, baby.
A little vino?
Toby.
What is the most common misconception about the profession of acting?
That it's easy.
That it's easy, or that they see you on TV once and they think you're full of money?
Yeah, or that too, I guess. Is that what you're trying to get at?
No, if because you were talking about kind of learning the basic kind of fundamental stakes steps to be able to sort of succeed as an actor. But if you could go back to the set of John from Cincinnati and give yourself like one piece of advice, what would it be?
Like on that set or after that set?
Just basically on that set. You're there, you're full of energy, you're excited, you crashed the van. I mean, all these things are happening to you, but you got to basically give young George Jack like a key piece of advice that you want him to know. Don't take the red pill. Run.
No. Never mind. I was gonna go dirty on that one. Seriously, I really don't have anything that I would suggest to myself from back then because I feel like I actually did learn a lot from that one experience, and that's what instigated my interest in trying to become an actor in the film industry. So I really wouldn't have it any other way.
But until college, because you said that's where you kind of cut the bug. It was acting like completely like out of your mind frame, or did you have inklings of it back then as well?
Completely out.
What if you were like 13, 14, what did you think your career was going to be?
Well, I wanted to be a naval aviator because of Top Gun.
Nice.
Top Gun was like my favorite movie growing up. I watched it probably, I'm not even joking, like 500 times. But over the course of me understanding what the film industry is like, I feel like I saw that as a glamorous gig because of the acting and because of the filmmaking of it. And that's what really attracted me. So I feel like I was duped in a way. I thought that I wanted to be a naval aviator. But I'll tell you the reason why I didn't want to be a naval aviator is because in high school, I was part of I joined the Civil Air Patrol, which is the auxiliary to the Air Force. So it's kind of like the ROTC for the Air Force, but in high school. And I couldn't do all that fucking military bullshit. I couldn't do the marching, get up at 5 a.m. march and learn your bullshit. And yeah, I couldn't do that.
I wanted to fly. I feel you because I love Top Gun, and I wanted to fly a Harrier when I was a kid. And then they're like, no, that's Britain. We don't have those here. So I was like, oh, okay, never mind. And like, do you want to fly a cargo plane? And I was like, not really. So that was that was that. But also remind me the next time we do a movie together for me to write like a Top Gun volleyball scene in there for you, because if I would have known that was your jam, I would have worked it into fallback somewhere where there was like a volleyball flashback or something, playing with the boys type homage,
Still one of the best soundtracks of all time.
Absolutely. That's do you ever go get ribs at the spot right there during Comic-Con or whatever?
Kansas City Barbecue.
Yeah,
it's there, but I've never been there.
It's a nice little joint, guys. It's still got like a dive bar feel to it.
There was a restaurant bar that used to be, I don't even know how to describe it, but it was right along the launch path of the airport, San Diego Airport. Mm-hmm. It's not there anymore. It's all like private planes. But there was a restaurant that my mom used to always take us to because my dad used to travel a lot. And that was the restaurant that Goose's wife played the piano on, I believe. But one scene was there, and we used to go there all the time as a kid. I don't know why that's relevant. But, yeah.
I know we're talking Top Gun. And you are in part two. What parts are you in, or just kind of one of the pilots? What are you doing in there?
I was in the background. It's nothing big, but I
Yeah,
can't really tell you the scene because it would give shit away.
okay, got it. It's the part where he buzzes the tower again.
There you go.
Buzz the tower again. No, Tom Cruise. Okay. When it comes, because I'm just trying to knock out some of these different questions that I had for you, and then I have a fun bit. But when it comes to techniques, are you like, do you have any? Did you when you started out? Did you do any theater and improv training? Did you always just start looking directly into commercial and theatrical? Kind of, where did you hone your craft?
Yeah. So I've never done any theater ever in my life. So that's definitely not where my craft came from. I just I learned it on my own, man.
Yeah,
The first book that I read on acting was by Harold Guskin. I don't even know if anybody knows that name, but it
mm,
was How to Stop Acting. So essentially, it was telling people how to stop pretending to act. And that was the
yeah.
first book that I ever read. But I've read plenty of books on acting. I've taken Meisner classes. I've taken method acting, and I take things from everywhere because not everything works for everybody, and not every technique is going to work for everything for everybody.
I always tell people the Uta Hagen book because it just reminded me of what you said, but because that's what I studied. But yeah, the acting it's not, you're not acting cold. The acting is the compensation to the fact that you're already cold. How you react to the cold, right? Basically,
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily that,
And I think
but
that's one of the things that really attracted me to acting because I don't know if I mentioned this before, but when I was in college and I had this opportunity to act on John from Cincinnati, I was in my minor classes. So my minor classes were all psychology based, and psychology was absolutely the best, all of the best grades out of all my courses. And I could relate to acting, and I could relate to all of that, putting yourself in a different circumstance under the same personality guys, and I found that very interesting. I found it very interesting trying to understand and relate to people, and that's what I think got me really into acting.
Dizzy Miss Lizzie said that she liked that I called you a sports polygamist. But yeah, no, it's weird the things that you do that you don't think have anything to do with what the craft that you're in that actually play a part. So all those classes, all those things that you're doing, kind of from a different perspective, other than just the improv classes, the read the book, the do scene, do practice monologues, this and that. All those things that are outside everything that you experience as a human can be used kind of in that in acting. You got to bring all of it into it, right? Um, I always tell people that one of the things that made me a good director was the fact that I ran a call center for 15 years and I trained 10,000 people because I had to meet people quickly, get to know them, figure out their personality types, how to motivate them. Like that made me. And then when I got on set, it was like, okay, I can talk to the art department, I can talk to the DP, I can talk to the background, I can talk to different things, and I have a
See
way of
now
managing
that
people.
what you're talking about right there and managing people, I remember that completely from psychology, and that's intrinsic and extrinsic motivations. And what do you talk about when you're an actor is motivations. What motivates a character to do something specifically, and that's all motivation. Understanding a person and being able to relate to them is very important to being able to understand motivations, and that is all psychology based.
All right, and I have a bit that I wanted to do with you. All right,
A bit.
because a bit, yeah, it's a bracket. You like the NCAA's, right?
Okay.
Okay. All right. Because I know one of the things we always give you shit about is obviously your ethnic ambiguity and your look. And I even said you were trying to be ethnically and age ambiguous at the time. What is the most common thing that people look at you and they come up to you and say, "Hey, aren't you?"
They don't even say "aren't you?" They just start speaking Spanish. And then when I don't speak Spanish, they get offended that I don't speak Spanish because they think I'm Latino.
Oh, okay, so they're like,
100%. That's it.
Oye, Jorge, ¿qué pasó? ¿Qué onda? ¿Qué quieres? You're like,
I was like, I understood that you knew my name.
Yeah. Jorgito. Vamos a ver, right.
But with that being said, I am learning Spanish.
Okay.
So I take, if you guys...
Steer into the curve.
Duolingo is a really good app. It helps you learn Spanish. And I travel to Mexico all the time, so I want to be able to speak Spanish. And hopefully it'll help my acting.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All you need really, is it can't help, right? You could be Juan from Cincinnati. All right, so this is the ethnically ambiguous bracket. Okay, so I'm going to give you 2 ethnically ambiguous celebrities or actors, and you just tell me which moves on to the next round. All right, you can make any sort of choice, whether you like one and don't like the other one, or if you think one is more than one talented, or for whatever reasons you have, you just make a choice. All right, you ready?
Sure.
All right, The Rock or Mariah Carey?
The Rock.
All right. Bruno Mars or Scarlett Johansson?
Bruno Mars.
Scarlett Johansson obviously in there as a joke because she plays a lot of other ethnicities on, but good job getting spotting that one and getting rid of Scarlett Johansson. Rosario Dawson or Vin Diesel?
Rosario Dawson.
That's a good choice, my friend. Jesse Williams or Rashida Jones?
You ever seen The Boys?
I have. I want to. That's like my next show. That I
Jesse
want to
Williams.
Yeah, Jesse Williams. Right. So Rashida Jones. Sorry. Meghan Markle or Drake? Drake moves on. Mila Kunis or Amber Rose?
Mila Kunis.
Mila Kunis. Zoe Saldana. I went to high school with her. Or Maya Rudolph?
Zoe Saldana.
Zoe Saldana. And Slash or Olivia Munn?
Olivia Munn.
Olivia Munn. Good job. All right. And then finishing up the first round, Lou Diamond Phillips.
Lou Diamond Phillips. You don't even need to say the next one.
All right. Zoe Kravitz is out. All right. What do we have to tell you? Lou Diamond Phillips is, I think, like your doppelganger.
Doppelganger. Yeah. That's what I think too.
Yeah. All right. Drake or Mila Kunis? Where's George? See, this is what happens when you do it live. You get these little breaks in the action. Not sure if George Jack didn't pay his Wi-Fi bill, but I'll give him a minute here in case he can reconnect. Second here. Where are you at, George? This is where I would use my technical difficulties logo. Uh-oh. Wait, are you back?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Were you always there? Did I just lose you?
I was there the whole time.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, so where we're at? Drake or Mila Kunis? What'd you say?
I said Drake, and then last was Lou Diamond Phillips.
Okay, Lou Diamond Phillips. All right. Cliff Curtis, who played Pablo Escobar in Blow. He's one of my favorite ethnically ambiguous actors. Shout out Cliff Curtis. He's actually Australian, but he's played Mexicans, Colombians, Arabs. He plays everything. Or Zoe Saldana.
Zoe,
like Cliff. I just, talk them up and then you just eliminate them like that, like a buzzing of flies. The Rock or Bruno Mars? Here's where it gets a little bit there. The Rock, Bruno, adios. Rosario Dawson or Jesse Williams?
Jesse Williams.
Jesse Williams. All right. Rosario Dawson's the safe elimination there. Olivia Munn or Lou Diamond Phillips? This is a tough second round matchup here. That's a tough matchup for Lou Diamond going up against Olivia Munn in the second round.
Give it to Lou.
Lou Diamond Phillips. Bye, Olivia. And now we're getting down to the nitty gritty here. All right.
The Rock.
The Rock versus Jesse Williams. The Rock. All right. And Lou Diamond Phillips versus Drake.
Lou.
And I'm going to eliminate Zoe Saldana here. So it's that's your choice right there. The Rock or Lou Diamond Phillips.
I plead the fifth.
You plead the fifth. There's a tie. It's going into overtime. Let's flip a coin. You're going on COVID IR. What's going on here, man? Lou Diamond Phillips or The Rock?
I told you I'm pleading the fifth.
All right. I'm gonna left you. You're the guest, so I'm gonna leave you off the hook on that one because one of them is The Rock.
Fine. The Rock.
The Rock. All right. Lou Diamond Phillips had a good run. I think he's one of the most underrated actors from like the 80s and 90s, man.
Oh, yeah.
That guy's a beast. Freaking Young Guns, and also he's like 18 different things. Not one of them is like Mexican or something, but he's been in like so many major like Latin films as well. So I thought it was an interesting bit having you as a guest. What is the next step for you? I mean, Rising Tides obviously is something that you started working on. You're giving back. You're trying to get more people in the industry, which I think is awesome. You're a producer. You're still available as an actor, a commercial actor, a host. But what's next for you personally? Like, what's the next big move for you?
Right now, the most important thing to me is Rising Tides. We're trying to help as many small businesses as we can build a digital footprint to help build a bridge to their communities so we can help keep businesses alive, especially in California and San Diego. So that's the number one thing for me.
So is that basically like there's companies that might need to put out ads, commercials, training, stuff like that, but that due to the situation right now can't like do it on like a high level? Are you guys trying to help these people out like budget wise or?
Yeah, all of the above. Yeah, pretty much. We're looking for a lot of people who are struggling to reach their target audiences.
Okay.
And try to help them reach their target audiences so that a lot of businesses don't fail, because that's what's going on right now because of the pandemic. A lot of people can't pay their bills. I mean, and that's because everything's closed and we just want to help out.
And for you guys, is it basically like if you guys can help a couple of those companies succeed, does that put your company like on a bigger plateau for bigger things? Is that the goal from your guys's kind of like what you guys are getting out of it?
Not necessarily. I mean, we really want to just build our brand and the company in the way that we want to, and it's not necessarily predicated on making sure that our clients are successful. Like, we just want to make sure that the vision that we have in mind for the company is being executed.
Okay.
And like I said, that comes down to that education part. Like, we want to build an industry. That's the main focus of the company. And getting there is going to take several different steps, but that's the main goal.
Well, good, man. What's the last thing that you binged?
I'm still binging it right now, but Blacklist.
Okay. All-time favorite Raven?
Oh, damn. Fuck. All right. Ed Reed.
Ed Reed?
I'm a DB, so don't even bring me that Ray Lewis bullshit.
No.
Ray Lewis is awesome, but I'm a DB. So
actually, I was contemplating whether I should do like a best Raven like player bracket or ethnically ambiguous celebrity, and I went with ethnically ambiguous celebrity. But I figured the final would have come down to Ray Lewis versus Ed Reed. I wanted to see where you fell on that.
Actually, if it were to fall down to two, it would be Lamar and Ed Reed.
Really?
Bro, Lamar is the fucking.
Well, after just 2 years, right? Like, you're like all in.
Dude, are you kidding me? We haven't had anybody that transcends this type of talent ever. Maybe if anybody were to reach that, it would be maybe Ray Rice. Yes, I know Ray Lewis and Ed Reed are two huge names and they're huge Ravens, But
No,
you know that it's always going to land on the shoulders of the offense. So who do you have that's going to be a fucking all-star on offense?
Lamar is the closest thing to like Mike Vick video game that when like when Mike Vick used to be on Madden,
Bro, if you want, I'll show you my record on Madden. I played like 600 games, bro.
Yeah.
I'm like 400 and 150 or something like that.
Are you Xbox or PS4?
PS4.
Okay, got it.
But I'll play on Xbox too. I'm
You
comfortable.
play anything, no matter what.
Yeah.
Actually, Aaron is one of the people that I had on a list of people that I was eventually going to reach out to talk to as well, because a long time ago when this was starting off, he was like, hey, come to these meetings or stuff like that. And
Aaron who?
The guy, your friend from Rising Tide.
Oh, Aaron Roberts. Yeah.
Yeah, Aaron Roberts. But at the time, I was, I was like deep into taking care of my dad and stuff like that. Had a lot of stuff going on personally, so I couldn't really get out there. But I have a couple of things that I think would fit from what I've seen, that the experience that he has and your team has that might fit that brand and stuff. So at some point, I will be reaching out to you guys. So I'm sure we can talk about some stuff there, collaboration, in the near future. And then obviously anything to do with community outreach, getting the next generation of filmmakers trained, mentored, etc. I spend a lot of time doing that to friends and family that I know that'll let me know, like, hey, my son is thinking about films, or somebody that I know is thinking about acting. Can you spend a little time with him, just kind of talk to him, break it down for him, stuff like that. So I'm always down for that, my brother. That being said, man, we have all your information. You're still available for work. Depending on the price, you may or might not care about people's COVID protocols.
Is that what you're judging me on, or what?
What do you mean? I'm giving you shit. I'm just saying. Because you're telling me you've been on sets where people don't wear masks, and you've been on, other sets. So,
but I'm gonna stay 6 feet away. Like I'm not stupid, right?
Yeah. Hey, I'm just saying, man. Like there's intense filmmaking out there sometimes, and people have to make decisions about what they're comfortable with, right?
It's not worth it, bro.
Yeah.
Like just sit at home and figure shit out until everything gets better.
Yeah, I think this is just like a big reset for the earth, for people to just sort of figure out, was what I was doing making me happy? What can I do to make myself happy? What I really want? What are the things that are really important to me?
Seriously, it's like, is that what you were doing before COVID really that important to you? Because if it was, then you would still be continuing with it. And I would say 75% to 80% of the people are not.
All right, last question, because this is the last one that I came up with right now, okay? All right, because I like to ask these stupid hypotheticals, but you win an Emmy for your portrayal of Face from the A-Team, right? All right, you win an Emmy for your portrayal as Face on the A-Team, or 5 seasons and a Super Bowl with any team other than the Ravens.
The fuck? What is that? 5 seasons?
You get to pick 2 different career paths. One of them where you're an actor and you win an Emmy. One of them where you're a defensive back and you win a Super Bowl. But you can't do the other one. If you pick one, you can't. You can never act. If you pick, then you can never play football.
You're telling me that I would win a Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's it. You'd rather win a Super Bowl than win an Emmy?
100%, bro.
How about if it was an Oscar?
Super Bowl over an Oscar?
Mm.
Yeah, Super Bowl.
Okay. All right. Not for the Ravens, though. You got to play for like the Tennessee Titans or something.
Why that?
I don't know. I thought it would win. I don't know. I didn't want to say the Jets because then you were going to clown me.
I would have been down with the Jets.
Okay.
Are you kidding me?
All right. Okay. Cool. So football still trumps
bro,
acting.
Football? Are you kidding me?
Okay.
Football.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I just like to dig into people's kind of loves and passions. That's why I'm probably gonna do that.
get my heart fluttering right here, thinking I'm winning a Super Bowl. I'm gonna go to bed thinking I won a Super Bowl for the Jets.
Yeah, so you'd rather take like the invincible route, like the Mark Wahlberg, just get a tryout, get out there, like play, or at least play a role, man. I mean, shit, right?
It's not the same.
It's not the same. It's not the same. All right, man. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today. I also appreciate that you were sharing and talking about the real review stuff. I'm happy that you got some use out of my advice and that you were up for the project. I know they will be able to work together hopefully on other projects soon. So obviously, I wish you the best of luck with Rising Tide with your career. And thanks for being on the show, man. I have Don't You Know Jack. Then if they want to follow you on Instagram, there's also You Don't Know Jack. And then Rising Tides Creatives as well.
You get that, right? You get the play on words, right?
You get it? Yeah, of course. Who doesn't?
Okay, well, I'm just making sure your audience.
All right. Okay, I got it right. I will. I appreciate you also being able to test this with me live, even though we didn't promote it or anything. I'll also re-edit it and put it out as a video and stuff, and I'll let you know all that stuff. But thank you, man. I appreciate it, and keep doing your thing.
Word up, bro. Good talking.
All right. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
All right, later.